Before we get today's show started, I would like to pause for a beautiful announcement. It's my anniversary. Hey, y'all. Becoming Unique Podcast has just celebrated 3 years of becoming unique. That's right. And if you're looking at this podcast on the visual platforms, you will see some beautiful pink roses. That's right. And the card inside the roses says, 3 years and counting of the Becoming Unique podcast. Thank you for showing up. Cheers to continued growth and abundance. Love your higher self. That's right. I sent myself my own flowers and I wrote myself my own note as a reminder that I'm putting that work in, and it's okay if I can recognize myself. I don't need to wait for the outside to recognize me. What's important is that we recognize ourselves. Yes. Thank you to everyone that has supported, downloaded, shared, and talked about this podcast. I completely appreciate every single one of you guys. Let's get today's show started. Welcome to the Becoming Unique Podcast, a lifestyle podcast with a focus around wellness, self-care, self-love, and so much more. Hey, y'all. So, we have arrived to the final episode of Season 9. Season 9, to bring everyone up to speed on Season 9. Season 9 of the Becoming Unique podcast has been a solo season. It's been all about me. In my book, Your Guide to Bringing More Acts of Self-Care. So during this season, I have been going through some of the chapters of the book. I've gone through affirmations, I've gone through journaling, I've gone through meditation, I've gone through breathing, I've gone through movement. And as I'm going through each chapter of the book, I'm not reading from the book and telling you all the details inside the book. I am giving supportive conversation around each chapter. I am giving supportive previous podcast episodes around each chapter. So my book is not giving you, brand new information. So journaling and affirmations is not some discovery that I discovered and I'm presenting it to the world. It's beautiful tools that can help us in our self-care journey, and I am here to share these valuable, amazing tools. And so these episodes are about sharing stories, sharing beautiful information to support you. So that's kind of been a rundown of what this season has been about. But today is the last day of this season, and today's episode is going to be on chapter 4, small acts of self-care. So I kind of give you a rundown of the different of the different topics that we went through, which have been different chapters within this book, and there are also more chapters that I am not discussing within these episodes, but the chapters that I am discussing are really the foundation and the core chapters of my book, Your Guide to Bringing More Acts of Self-Care. And so let's move forward with today's episode being about, small acts of self-care. Now, self-care is definitely in 2023, I think, like a buzzword. You're hearing it all over the place. Because I can truly say, even though self-care has always been around, the conversation wasn't what it is today. Self-care is a buzzword. I'm hearing it in a lot of advertisement. Have a self-care moment. Come here. But I'm seeing and hearing self-care all over the place. And someone may think, well, what exactly is self-care? Or people may reference, getting my nails done, self-care Sunday. And, as I like to say, getting your nails done could be a form of self care, but it's not the all be all version of what self care looks like. And my definition of self care is that self care is very, very individualistic. So the example of getting your nails done, that one, I think that would be like if this was Family Feud and they asked the question, what is self-care? I think getting a mani pedi would be number one on the list of people's imaginations or versions or visualization of what self-care looks like. And I can tell you for myself, personally for myself, getting my nails done is nowhere close to self-care for me. As you can see, my nails are not done. And I have the time to do my nails. I have the money to do my nails, but I don't find it self-care. I literally, when I do get my nails done, I'm dragging my feet to get it done. I'm like, oh, it's, and while I'm getting it done, I'm looking at the time like, oh, would my nails hurry up and dry? So if someone said you need to put more self-care in your life, Unique, get your nails and toes done every single week, that wouldn't be self-care for me, because self-care is individualistic, and I have to figure out for me what's going to, fuel my soul, what's going to, what is going to make me feel good from the inside out. That's what self-care is going to look like for me. So that's why, I have, if you listen to plentiful of episodes on this podcast, I'm constantly preaching that, it's up to you to figure out what works for you. Just because something may be excellent for me, it doesn't mean that that's going to be the recipe for you. And that's even also why I have as the subtitle on my book, the subtitle says you hold the key to your life's journey. So, to be mindful that you hold the key. It's not my key and I'm handing you a copy of it and saying, hey, this regimen worked for me, it saved my life, and this is what self-care is going to be, so I'm handing you the key. No. It's up to you to discover what your key is. And in this chapter of this book, I'm giving you options of different things to do to shake the energy up so it can help you figure out what self-care, what small acts of self-care looks like for you and what makes you comfortable. You get what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying? So going back to this nail thing, nails is not my groove, but and I do get them done occasionally. Like tomorrow I will be getting my nails done. And guess why I'm getting my nails done? I'm getting my nails done because I have an event to go to and I want to present myself in a certain way and I want to have my nails done. But I'm not necessarily getting them done for self-care. I want to present myself. I am being conscious of the reason why I want to get my nails done for that reason. And I'm already kind of like dragging myself about getting my nails done. But, self-care for me, honestly could just be like once I finish recording this podcast and just sitting in my quiet stillness, that's self-care for me, because guess what? Doing that for Unique is recharging Unique. And, and that's what self-care looks like. It's fueling your soul. It's recharging you. It's making you feel good. So be mindful of when you are bringing self-care actions into your life. That is, ask yourself, do I feel good doing this? Do I feel recharged? Do I feel, rejuvenated? All of these questions, may be, questions you want to have for yourself. And if you're doing actions that are quote unquote self-care and you're not feeling these feelings, you may want to revisit what self-care looks like for you. So, like I said, I have been suggesting previous episodes that I feel would fit, the topic of the day. And so let me go ahead and share the episodes that I have for this week. So this week I'm going to share 3 previous Becoming Unique podcast episodes, and I will have all of the links within the show notes. So make sure you go ahead and click onto the links and listen to the previous episodes. So for small acts of self-care, I have self-care bath rituals. So this was a beautiful episode that I had way back in season 1 of the Becoming Unique podcast with my amazing guest Kennedy. And it's more than just talking about taking a bath. So it's talking about different elements of self-care. So it's such an amazing episode, and I definitely highly suggest you listen to that one if you are like in the place of saying, I really do want to figure out what self-care, more different actions of self-care. So that's a great episode to listen to. Another amazing episode to listen to is Healing Through Energy. So this was another beautiful episode. This one is much different than the self-care bath rituals. This one was a beautiful conversation around energy and the chakras and going outside in the elements and understanding energy from those places, because once we start to understand that element around energy as well, it will definitely reshift things with us. We will, because when you walk into a place and you be like, yo, the energy is just off, you feel drained, or you feel, depleted with leaving a place, and you'll say, oh, that energy was not right. I feel tired. I feel depleted, or whatever the case is. But, sometimes when we don't have awareness around that, we keep entering those energies. But, this conversation is bringing a lot of awareness around energy and different ways of, channeling and so on. And like I said, in this chapter, at the very beginning of this chapter, I say, being very intentional on what you do. Whatever you do, don't do it for the sake of this book. Do it for the sake of you, and do it with intentions. Because when we move with intentions, then, we create memories, and we create a bond within ourselves, and we can go back to those moments. And within the energy episode, it's just bringing a lot of awareness with intention. So that's a beautiful episode to listen to as well for this, to support this chapter of the book. And then another episode is Ayurvedic morning routine. Another completely different episode from the previous 2 episodes that I talked about. But, a lot of times when you hear people talking about self-care, a lot of time it's in their morning routine. When I wake up, I have my cup of tea, I do my journaling, I do my workout, I do my meditation, and so on. And so with listening to the Ayurvedic morning routine, again, it's bringing intention around your morning routine. So we're not just waking up and just dashing out the house and not putting intention on the day. Again, going back to putting that intention on. So that's another amazing episode to kind of just bring, focus around that morning routine. I can definitely say, and some of this stuff may seem trivial, like, oh, I already know about a morning routine. I know about this. I know about that. But there's definitely, I can say 5 years ago, I really didn't have any understanding of this. Even though I have been functioning and walking around in this world, I definitely feel I was just existing almost. I woke up and did the rhythm of what I thought I was supposed to do for the day, but I wasn't necessarily putting intention on fueling myself. How was I going to uplift myself for the day and prepare myself for the day? So that's another amazing episode. Actually, I think all 3 of these episodes, I feel like, are definitely, if you are serious about, moving forward with really discovering different acts of self-care for you. Those are 3 amazing episodes to listen to. Let me repeat them again. So those episodes were self-care bath rituals, it was healing through energy, and also the Ayurvedic morning routine. And to keep it 100 with you guys, I think the whole library of the Becoming Unique podcast is such a supportive podcast, and reshifting and opening the door for actions of self-care. I feel like I can name many more episodes where there is so much conversation around, being intentional, bringing in more wellness, bringing in more self-love, self-care around yourself. I really think the whole Become a Unique library is a collection of podcast episodes to, put us in that place of higher vibration. And I am honestly not saying this because this is my podcast. I honestly there's a lot of podcasts that I listen to, but a lot of times when I'm looking for podcasts, I'll go back and re-listen to old Become a Unique podcast episodes. Not because I like the way I speak, it's because I've had so many amazing guests who just share so much information. And I don't have the number right here, but I will probably put it right here. But I believe I've had over 80 guests on this podcast. Over 80 guests, different voices of sharing so much high vibrational information for us all to vibrate higher. You don't come to this podcast for us to talk about the latest gossip of what's been happening and, in pop culture. That's not where we're coming from over here. Every guest that comes on this podcast is literally sharing amazing information for all of us to vibrate higher. But you take what you take what resonates with you. Just like I said at the top of this podcast, what may work for me may not work for you. So it's up to you to to build your own recipe. Understand that you hold the key to your life's journey, and also you can question everything. Just because and even if I have a guest that come on this podcast and be like, this is the key, this is what works, go ahead and use this method, it's going to cure you. I dare you to question it. That's what I'm about. That's why I'm here asking questions. I question things, because I'm not going to go by what one person says. I need to figure out what works for me. And just like I said, if this was a Family Feud episode and someone said, name some actions of self-care, what does self-care looks like? I bet Manny Petty would be on the top of that list. And that is not self-care for me. It truly isn't. I do get my nails and pedicures done because I want to present myself in a certain way, but it's not going to fuel me. I actually probably feel exhausted after doing it. Like, I gotta get my nails done because I put that energy on myself because I don't necessarily want to do it. So it's up to you to discover that. This chapter has a lot of beautiful activities for you to work towards so you can see if those things resonate with you and so on. So yeah, that was my chat of the day for this week's chapter. Throughout this series, I have been talking about a different tea. Throughout this series, I have been talking about a different tea every week. So I need to end this episode off with this tea of the week. And the tea of the week is called I Am Rooted. Yep, I Am Rooted. This tea is a root tea. So this tea is made of dandelion root. This is the tea right here. So this is the root of the dandelion. Has a lot of amazing medicinal benefits, but as I always say, I don't sell my teas for the medicinal purposes. I sell my teas from a different energetic place. And I have an episode about, tea and so on like that. So I will also link that episode to this podcast as well, where I'm kind of like breaking down the teas, what's the difference between, decaffeinated teas and caffeinated teas and so on. It's a very beautiful, detailed episode around tea. But when I started my tea company, I didn't start it as like, because I know a lot of like herbal teas, you will see them say, this one is great for blood pressure and this and that and this and that. Yeah, some of these teas may have some medicinal properties, but I suggested in my tea episode, if you are looking to get herbal teas for medicinal properties, I highly suggest you talk to an herbalist or a professional in that area. Drinking one cup of tea is not going to cure someone's blood pressure or fix this or fix that. You really need to speak to an herbalist to also see how you need to prepare your teas and, to make them work towards a certain area that you're trying to focus on within your body. So I'm not going to sell that promise to you, because it's going to be more detailed than drinking one cup of tea and say, hey, I'm going to work on my blood pressure because I'm drinking this tea. And I'm not saying the dandelion tea is great for blood pressure. I'm just using that as a generic example. So, I'm not selling my teas from that energetic point. I'm selling my teas from the place of, infusing positive, high vibrational affirmations within yourself. And the teas are, herbal teas that have beautiful medicinal benefits, but it's coming from the place of, understanding that words are spells and words have high vibrational tones within you. So as you drink this tea, it's giving the understanding that you are rooted, that you are grounded. And if you're seeking to have those feelings, you feel like you're a person and you're like, oh my goodness, I feel so frazzled. I feel winded. I'm all over the place. I just feel like I need something sturdy. I need to be grounded. This is a great tea for you. It definitely has a very earthy taste where it feels like it came from the roots in the ground. And this tea is also kind of known to be like a coffee replacement, because it has like a more rooty, grounded feeling, where a lot of teas may be more on the lighter and flowy, watery feeling. This tea definitely gives a little more of like grunt to it, a little more groundedness to it. So like if you look on the internet about dandelion root, you will see that it says that this is a great coffee replacement. But I'm selling it from the energetic level of speak the words to yourself that I am grounded. Feel the energy that you are rooted. I said grounded, but the same thing. I am rooted. I'm feeling grounded. I'm getting my feet, on the ground. I can't be pushed over. I am rooted. Because you know what? When a tree is rooted, you can't push that tree over. The roots are strong. You are grounded. And yeah, so that's where this tea is coming from. It's coming from that energetic place of I am grounded, because I feel like a lot of us are out here and we're just flying all over the place, and we want stability and we want to feel rooted. This is an amazing tea for you. So that is the tea of the week. I have other teas on my website, so if you missed the previous episodes, the other teas, all my teas are about the affirmations. I am love, I am calming, and so on. I am open for change, I am rooted, and so on. So that's the discussion on the tea. You guys have been so amazing. If you don't have a copy of your guide to bringing more acts of self-care, it is definitely available on Amazon. It's available on barnesandnobles.com. It's available on walmart.com. It's available on any of your, bookstore, your independent bookstore's website. If they don't have it on the shelves of your independent bookstore, ask for it. Say, hey, you got to get this book in, and so on. So the book is definitely readily available out there. So yeah, I feel like not just because I wrote it. I feel like it's definitely a beautiful tool for someone, to bring intentional focus around the self-care and start to create a program around the self-care, because even if your self-care is getting your nails and pedicure done, self-care is also about bringing consistency around it as well too. So whatever self-care does look like for you, focus on that consistency. And this book allows you to have some consistency, because this book is a focus for 3 months. It's a very small but mighty book, because I asked you not to do this book in a weekend. This book is about you putting the work in. That's why it says workbook on the front of it. And it's about you taking 12 weeks, 3 months to get through this book, because it's up to you to start to make a system and dig deeper within yourself around this book. So yes, thank you so much for showing up for the Becoming Unique podcast. Like I said, this is the final episode for this season. Season 10 will definitely be coming back with a handful of amazing guests that's going to be slaying us with the high vibrational content and information so we can all vibrate higher. But there are about 110 episodes of the Becoming Unique podcast sitting there. So if you are missing the Becoming Unique podcast, definitely go back and listen to some of the previous episodes. There's 110 episodes waiting there. And I will definitely be coming back with season 10. It will most likely, I don't have an exact date yet, but I feel like I'm going to come back towards the end of the summer, if not the beginning of the fall season in September. So either August or, September. Summer is a time where, we really like to get out there and enjoy life a lot. A lot of people wait for the summer to enjoy life, and the sun is out. The sun is out for longer time. So I definitely suggest you get out there, enjoy life, enjoy your summer, and I will see you back in season 10. Bye.